So another little live stream, and of course, by the title here, we're talking about label makers. And when I think of a label maker, I think about the classic vinyl embossed labels. That's what I grew up with, and that's what kind of label maker that I have. And if you haven't already seen these things, they come in um, various different sizes and, and shapes and stuff like that, but it gives you that classic embossed label. So this is I don't know how old this thing is. I've had this for quite a long time. So this is the, and of course when I think of labels, I think of Dymo. So this is the Dymo Office Mate 1. So this is the 1530, and it uses 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch tape. And of course, it comes in, I think it's basically black and blue. So you get the classic vinyl stuff like that. So it's like, and if you haven't seen a classic uh, vinyl embossed label being made, we'll go over and we'll make one. And this is the most manual label maker you can get. And this is basically is all that was available at the time when I was growing up. And I think this is like the second one or something like that. And usually these things last as long as the plastic lasts. So inside here's fingers in here that get pushed up against the label and makes an embossment. So it's pretty much kind of like a forever label unless the adhesive fails. So this is one of them types where you gotta, and I hope this is working. It probably doesn't work anymore. Not really. So it's kind of one of them deals where you gotta make it. It may not feed anymore, which was kind of a failure point of these things. Like this one, it's not feeding as it goes through because it should do it by itself. So you gotta kind of, for me on this one, that's probably why I retired this and went for the more electronic one, is because it's quit feeding. So you gotta manually feed it. And of course, if you forget, it doesn't really do what it wants to do. But this is basically what it does. Gives you the classic emboss. Unfortunately, this one doesn't feed by itself anymore, which, like I said earlier, is probably one of the reasons why I kind of retired it. Or it just doesn't like this particular type of tape. Of course, there's plastic bits falling out of it. We'll try refeeding it and see what it does. Yeah, it's not feeding on its own anymore. So that's probably why I said, well, it's time to get a different type, because it doesn't feed anymore. But this is what you had to go through to make a label if you wanted to label something. Of course, if you skipped ahead too much, you got a space. That was your classic label maker. So this is the embossed type, and if you've ever seen uh, you know, shelves, sometimes it'd be more industrial type or an office setting that this would be used in. So this was the like I said, the classic embossed, and of course the challenge. Well, this one was a little bit more modern. It gave you a little pull tab to split it off. I think the earlier generation I had, you had to pick away at the backing to get that adhesive backer off and stuff like that. So that was the classic embossed, and they still make these. Uh, they're more like a pistol type now, but it's kind of manual. It's kind of a little old-fashioned. But if you like that type of label, they're still available, and the vinyl tape is still available on the Jungle site. So I think after that little incident where it quit feeding, I got something more modern. So this was the more modern equivalent to me, and I used the crap out of this thing. I don't know if this one works either because I haven't used this in a long time. So this is the Dymo, the Letra tag. So even with these things, they come in different styles. So this was the more like fit in your hand and pistol type grip. And this one, of course, uses batteries. Of course, it comes with a cartridge. And they still make these things too. These refillable cartridges and stuff like this one. This one happens to be the silver metallic, and of course, it's 1/2 inch by 13 feet long. So that's how much length of tape that you have on these. And of course, they come in white, black, and I believe and of course silver. And it's thermal printing, so stuff like that. So you had to have a fresh set of batteries in these things if for them to print right. And the challenge is to get the batteries out. And this one took 6 batteries, double A's. So we'll put some batteries in here, and we'll see if this still works. Because I know my uncle had one of these things, and he used the crap out of it, and then it just stopped working. Or it would feed tape, but it wouldn't print anything. So I don't know if this one, because it's been sitting so long, if it still works or not. I have no idea. So there's the plastic bits from there. This one took 6 batteries to operate the thermal printer. And I think they all went in the same way. Yeah, so they all face the same direction for this particular model. And I used to use this a lot for labeling different things and battery cases and different things because you needed to identify what it was. So I used that. I know what I use this for. I used to use this for marking CDs and DVDs, blank ones. That's what I primarily use this one for. So when I was doing DVDs and stuff like that, because I would what do you call it, bootleg. I would copy DVDs from. I used to have software when I used to have the. Maybe this Mac did it. I think I had a DVD burner in it before I ripped it out and replaced it with a hard drive. But I used to rip my own DVDs from stamped DVDs that I used to get from Netflix and stuff like that. So you always had a copy on hand. So it still powers up, which is amazing. But does it print? I do not know. So this is one of them keyboards where it's all linear, so you got to kind of hunt around for the letters. And I think you had to use shift. Nope, definitely not shift for capitals. course, the display is a little bit knackered. It's not showing all the letters. But, like I said, this thing is old as shit, so that's to be expected. We'll see if this still prints. This one doesn't feed. I do hear the little motor turning, which I think was one of the problems on this thing too, is that it quit feeding. The little rollers in here would quit feeding. And of course, come with a little brush in here that you could brush the rollers. And then to clean the little burning head in here. So this might not even work. It may have died. We'll give it the cleaning method here to see if it comes back to life. Probably not. So a little bit of dirt come out. So we'll put the tape back in. There's a little bit hanging out. So we'll see if it prints now. No, it doesn't want to feed. So that's probably, I probably wore it out where it doesn't print anymore. There's a little switch in there for something. I don't know what that's for. Nope. So this one doesn't feed, so this one is pretty much scrap. And it has no signs of life. As for feeding, we can give it a little help. Let's see if the print head works. Well, the print head does work, but the feed mechanism doesn't work at all. So, unfortunately, the feed mechanism no longer works on this, so it's pretty much garbage. But it still does print, which is more than what the other one did. Its brother. So that's too bad. So it's just a paperweight now. So we can pretty much scrap both of them too, because they no longer work properly. And it was always a bear to get the batteries out. Come out. Give me my batteries back. You piece of junk. Which is good, because over next door, we had a little project where we needed to label wires. And of course, we did it old school. We would print the label out and we would wrap the label around the wire. And I knew that there was label makers that did that automatically, where you could configure them to print on wires and stuff like that, or make a label and or heat shrink type labels to wrap on wires. And I thought to myself, hey, you know what? I can actually have a use for that, because it's always good to have a label maker that not only is a general purpose label maker, but a specialty label maker for making wires and stuff like that. Because I got a plethora of wall warts chargers that are unique, and they don't really identify themselves to where they belong to. So I figured that, you know, if you can get a label maker that will make a label for printing on wires, see, like this wall wart, this is for a Phillips trimmer. And if you don't remember, you know, because sometimes these wall warts are not marked, they're just a generic wall wart. You're like, what the hell does this go to? And you'd be like, I don't, then you're trying to hunt around, trying to figure out where it goes to. And I got a couple of these things that need to be labeled. So I thought to myself, hey, dummy, once you go on the Amazon site and check out a label maker that can print wires or heat shrink that you can mark your wires with and have other projects. Hi, Pete. What's going on in Pete Land today? So this is what I got from the Jungle site. It's the Dymo Rhino 4200. So we can go over to the not that one, to the Jungle site and check out some of the details. And this is the cheapest of this particular series. There's other models. They pretty much do the same thing, but they got different styles. Like this one's more of a boxy type, but the other ones are a little different. So and what's nice about this one is that you're not stuck on very few label widths. So this one can use 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch, and 3/4 inch wide labels and shrink tube. So this is the other models that are available. So I got the one on the right, and there's two more that are a little bit more handheld type. And this is what I was most interested in, is doing the labeling. So like the picture on the far left here, that's kind of like your classic old school print out a label and wrap it in one wire. Or you can do the like the next picture over, the flag type, where you make you print out a label and you fold it over on itself on the wire, and then you get the heat shrink type, which is what I was most interested in this particular model. And of course, here's the different models here. Of course, they get fancier. They all pretty much use the same tape, except for the 6000 that uses 1 inch, up to 1 inch. And of course, the print speeds are a little bit different, but they pretty much are all the same type. The keypads are a little different, but if you don't need the most fanciest one, if you're going to use certain things on here that you're never going to use, like the most top of the line here, does all the same things except for the bottom half here, where it really gets fancy. But the rest of the models are pretty much all the same thing. So other than that, it's you get the cheapest one and it'll do the same thing. So that's the label maker. And of course, you need labels. So of course, I'm a little frugal and don't want to spend the money on the Dymo particular one. So you get the off-brands. So here's the I bought one type of labels, 1/2 inch. So that's the most common that you're going to use for me anyway. And it's prints black on white. And of course, this one comes in different sizes too, 3/8, 1/2 inch, and 3/4. And you get a 4-pack, so 1/2 inch by 18 feet long, and stuff like that. And then for the heat shrink, I got a 6-pack, 2 of each. So 1/4 inch, 3/8, and 1/2 inch, all in one package. And so that is very handy. Of course, the 1/4 inch is not going to fit around most stuff. So 3/8 and 1/2 inch will definitely fit around most stuff, even USB cables. Every once in a while, you got that unique USB cable that you don't know what it went to. It's like, where's this cable go to? Because sometimes they're unique and stuff like that. So always handy to have that. And so we took care of the old school. The old school are, I guess, permanently retired now. So let's take this out of the box and check it out. Still cold in Australia? So what's cold in Australia? That is it like 30 degrees during the night and like 50 degrees during the day? So we got our first cartridge. So it's the Dymo brand, and it's of course black on white, 1/2 inch by 18 feet. Quick start guide. And the label maker itself. Fortunately, this one didn't come with it. Some of these things come with a neat little what it can print on a little booklet, so you kind of get an idea of what it can or can't do. Yeah, that's the problem with some of the tapes, is that depending on who makes it and how cheap it is, sometimes it prints or don't print or don't feed. So I know with my Electrotag, that's all that was available at the time was the pure Dymo labels. That's all you could get for labels. They didn't, not like today where you can get the generics that are a little bit cheaper, but not always the best. But the ones on the Jungle site that I got, you know, they got fairly good reviews. It's a mixed bag, so you know, if it don't work, then you know, then you get the original Dymo. So this one about your new label maker, blah blah blah. Down on user guide. We'll have to check that out when I'm off camera to see if it comes with the. Because there's a neat little book, and I think there was a picture of it on the Jungle site for the little booklet it showed. So we'll go and see if there's a picture of that on the Jungle site. No. I know some of them come with a little booklet, and it was pretty neat of what it can and can't do, different styles and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't see it. Came with let's see if there's any of these pictures. Nope. But I seen a little book that somebody made for these things, or maybe even Dymo made it. Come in with a plastic comb type booklet for the various features that the thing did. So this is the, of course, the instructions. Is rechargeable battery. I don't think this one come with it. The different tapes and how to use it and blah blah blah. So it comes in different languages and stuff like that, but pretty much self-explanatory. If you know how to use a label maker, you should be able to figure it out. So this one is nice and big and chunky. You know, it's, of course, it's an industrial type label maker. So let's see, here's the battery section. So how many does this sucker need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a 6-pack. And of course, if you use the rechargeable battery pack, which is sold separately, but we probably can make our own for this sucker. Have to figure out what type rechargeable battery goes into it. Maybe we can make our own, because you know, a battery like that from Dymo, they're gonna charge you a small fortune to get it. Says do not mix alkaline, blah blah blah. What about the rechargeable? Does it have anything in there? Nope. Probably could figure out the voltage of the just multiply 1.5 times 6, and that's pretty much your battery pack voltage. Because it does come with a charge port on the bottom. So what's that say? I think it says 9 volt, 2 amps. So easy enough to make that battery pack if you could. Even 8.4 volt. So we'll stick some industrial energizers in this. For the first time. Maybe someday we'll make a battery pack for this. So there's that. Put the cover on. Still off, so that's good. And then to open the cartridge, there's that. How to open that. And of course, like I said, this one uses 4 different sizes of tape. So 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch, and 3/4. So 58 degrees is nippy. Wow. 58 degrees here this time of the year is refreshing. So let's see. This should be pretty much a drop in. Makes a little noise. That's cool. So let's power this up. Push and hold it. Yep. Let's see. Language. English. Yep. Inches. Yep. Or you can use the metric system, millimeters. Label width, not 3/4. So we are 1/2 inch. So you got to tell the machine what it does. So let's see. Let's turn on the backlight for myself. Of course, there's different features on here. I'll have to get a hold of that little neat little manual to check out all the features. Otherwise, you end up playing with it and wasting tape and stuff like that. So I hope that this is not one of the models where it wastes a lot of tape at the beginning and tail end of the tape, because that was the biggest problem with the Letter-Tag. Had big margins of wasted tape. So let's see, looks like the lettering is centered. So if you want to do multi-lines, it would be all centered. 32 point, of course, the sizes can be all adjusted and stuff like this. So going back to the features here, this one can print out labels for your breakers. This one does barcodes. And this one also does what I was interesting, flag and wire cable printing, and then different alignments. And of course, it can also do the general labels, which is always comes on by default. So that's pretty neat. So let's, and of course you can adjust the sizes and stuff like that, but that's all stuff I would have to figure out by getting that little booklet. And it's like, I hope you can print one out so you can figure out what all this can do, because that little quick manual doesn't show everything. So let's print out a label. We'll put the channel name on here. And we'll see our first print. So there's our first print on the label maker. Of course, it's as big as possible for that. And of course, not counting the beginning of the tape, but not very big margins, which is very nice. So I like that. And probably you can go in here and adjust that margin size, but I would have to play with the menus and stuff like that. So that's your basic, everyday label. And of course, the modern tape is split, so it's very easy to get the backing off so you can stick it to something. So, of course, if you wanted to do other stuff, labels and stuff like that, adjust the size, adjust the margin, that's probably all in here and stuff like that. So what I was most interested in is making the flags. Flag labels for wires and stuff like that, and of course select wire and cable. So we got cat wire, we got coax, the wire size, so 4 gauge, 2 gauge, 0 gauge, 2 gauge, 3 plus, self select, and then it goes back to the beginning. That's pretty. Let's try that one. And then Of course, then you're limited to the amount of characters. So let's see. It looks like it's overshot a little bit, so we'll make it a little smaller. And then let's see. Where is the backspace? There we go. So let's try something small, like of course that was cable. So let's try like cam. We'll try like camera 1 or something like that and see what it does. Text too long. Continue printing. Yeah, what the hell? Of course, that's the size difference there. So let's see. Where's the escape? Is there an escape on here? I have no idea. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it gives you that type where you have to, this is for wrapping around. Of course, probably won't focus on it. This is like the wraparound type. So this is the type you would do the classic wraparound. So you start at the furthest margin and wrap it around a cable. So something like this. So that you can identify what it was. So something like that. Of course, the washout makes it fade right out. So that's it. It's your classic label for that. And then to do the wire flag, you got to hit the alternate and then flag. And then we got flag type, extra small, small, large, and extra large. So let's do the extra large so it shows up on the camera. Flag length auto. What kind of options we got? Oh, we got 20-inch. Holy crap. 19, and then you can adjust the size. Wow. So you can have a 20-inch flag length. That's crazy. So the minimum, of course, we didn't know the maximum. So the minimum is a 1/4 inch all the way up to 20 inches. That's crazy. So we'll go on auto so it figures itself out. So let's put something, let's make a little flag. Something really crazy. Let's put subscribe. Of course, me not knowing how to use this, so it's going nuts. So let's see. Where is the... How about that? Maximum number of lines. Oh, let's see. How about rotate? See what that does. Of course, it's not going to print all of it. Text too long. Of course, I would have to, like I said earlier, I would have to go through all the instructions to figure it out of how to use this. Right, so this is the flag. So, okay, that's why it's complaining. I got a second line in there. So, on these little guys, when you do a flag on the wires, it comes with a halfway mark. So there's a halfway dotted line, and that's where you would normally fold it over, and then it would line itself up with the wire. So that would be your flag. So you would preferably line it up on the wire about halfway, and of course then you can put it anywhere you want on the wire. And then the challenge is to get both ends to line up, so it doesn't look so crappy. But we're only doing this for a demo to do a little show and tell. So that would be your flag label, and of course in the settings here you can get it to print the length of the label instead of like that on the ends. So that's pretty handy to have that. But what we're interested in is the heat shrink. So we'll turn that off, and then we'll open this, take out the cartridge, and then of course I got the generic labels. So these are all 1/2 inch. So there's a 4-pack from the Jungle site, probably made in China. And then we got the different size heat shrink. So we'll open this up and see if they are marked. Yes, they are marked, so that's good. So we'll try the, of course I got 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 3/8. So let's try the 3/8 inch heat shrink. Of course you get 5 feet of these. Of course it's probably about the maximum that the cartridge can hold, because you are dealing with a doubled tape. So 3/8, so that's pretty small actually for what I want. So let's get the bigger one. Get the 1/2 inch. Let's see. So there's a 1/2 inch. Of course, like I said, this thing goes up to 3/4 of an inch wide tape, so you can cover pretty much a pretty wide variety of applications here. So 1/2 inch by 5 feet. We'll turn that on. Label width 1/2 inch. Yep. And then we'll go backward here. So there's the flag. So we don't need the flag because we're doing something different. So we'll do cat wire. So now we can do cat wire or similar. We'll do we'll see how many characters we can get with this one. Okay, so it's not complaining. Printing too long probably because of the orientation. So I'll have to figure out how to do the orientation. Let's try sizes. So it's just out of range. We got 1, 2, 3 sizes. So let's see. Let's try styles. See if that. We got bold, italic, underline, narrow. Let's try narrow. Okay, now that'll print. So in the display here, the crosshatch section is no man's land. So if you get into there, it ain't gonna print. Let's try printing that. So this one is the, it shows it the way you would wrap it. So it would be all the way around. So then the challenge would be to open that up and get it around the cable. Because they press it flat so they can get it into the cartridge. So 1/2 inch barely fits over cat wire. There's your heat shrink for that. We would have to do, like I said, I would have to play with, read the instructions and how to figure this out. So here's the rotate. Let's try that. So that don't work for that. But like I said, I would have to figure all the features on this, because there's a lot of features on here to do different things. But I'll figure it out someday. That's that of the features on here that I know of how to generally work on. And of course, like I said, the heat shrink there, you know, you can, after you're done, you can just preferably use a heat gun and just heat shrink it on. So that'll come in handy once I figure out how to change the orientation. So instead of being like this, like you're wrapping around, it'd be more like this so you can read it. And I think it does that, but I had to go through the settings that I had to look up and stuff like that. So this little guy will come in very handy for different things, because I do, like I said earlier, I got several potential projects to if I wanted to label it, but I was interested, you know, in marking USB cables and stuff like that. So very handy. Of course, you know, I'm not doing a very good job of demonstrating the label maker, what it can do and what it can't do. It's just one of them situations where I have to look it up firsthand and then go through it and stuff like that. But you get the pretty much the scope of it. But like I said earlier, you need to get that. You need to get that handy little book, which is too bad they don't include it, of what it can and what it can't do, and how to access all the features and stuff like that. But it's probably available on the website, and you'll have to go there and download it and all that other good stuff. Just one of them situations, but a nice little tool to have. And of course, once you figure out how to operate it, it comes even more handy, and then you can think of all the stuff that you can use the thing for. So that's pretty much the short little Reader's Digest of how to, of me going over that and stuff like that. So we'll go back over to last week's stream where I had that this torch that I modified to run off two 18650s, and of course it's like a sleeper model where the you don't know it's been modified with 18650s. But I said I was going to do a lumen test on this little guy to see if it was rated at, I think it was a little over 372 lumens or something like that. So we'll find out today whether it's anywhere near that number and stuff like that. So this is my homemade little lux meter or lumen tube where you can figure out the lumens of these torches. And I did a bunch of videos on going through the mag lights and the various China Pride lights and stuff like that to see if they come anywhere close, and most of them don't, except for the mag light modified one and the super powered Thors and lumen tops and stuff like that I got, the high professional torches and stuff like that. And then I went through all of my little mag lights, and when I converted over and stuff like that, when I converted like this little mag light, these classic pen lights over to LED, and this is its I think second or third LED upgrade, and it's probably about as best as it can do for that. Same thing with the classic AA job, the pocket torch and stuff like that. Upgraded the old school mag lights to a more modern one, and like this one, I put the little glass breaker on the end of it. You just push and it shatters the safety glass. And I did all the lumen test on there too and stuff like that. So we're going to lumen test this job to see what it comes up with. So this is custom made. I made this custom for this little guy to do these little wacky tests. So we'll set it up here and we'll see what this jobber does. Comes anywhere near 300. And I got that other bulb or lamp that's supposed to, it's got that really weird beam pattern on it. So we'll turn her on. And of course the ambient light going in is affecting it. And of course you got to get it nice and tight in there. Of course it would help to turn the lights off and stuff like that. So we can turn the lights off a little bit to help it out. So we'll get a baseline. It's about 0.37. So this thing is supposed to be, I think, 300 some odd lumens. So look it up. Let's see. There it is. So this is the multi-voltage one. It goes anywhere from 6 to 19.2 volts, so 6 to 20 volts. Supposed to be 372 lumens. Well, I don't know if that's voltage dependent or not. So we'll get a baseline here. So we'll let that settle out. So 0.42. We'll turn it on. 96. Lame. That's a far cry from 372 lumens. So I could just tell by looking at it, it's not that bright. But it's a lot better than the incandescent stuff. Probably an incandescent might even be brighter. I really don't know. So a lame 90, sub 90, 85 lumens. That sucks. So that's kind of pathetic. But then we got that other weird bulb in here. But I don't know if that's voltage dependent. The higher voltage makes it brighter or not. Then we got this one with the really weird beam pattern on it. Where it's kind of cross-hatched. Got a cross on it. So we'll see what that is. Probably even more lame. Oh, that's a lot better. 150, not by much. That's pretty sad that that's brighter than the other one. But it's got a weird friggin' beam pattern on it. So far cry from 372. I don't know what this one's supposed to be. Let's see, how many lumens are you there, weirdo? This one is anywhere from 6 to 40 volts. 360-degree lighting. What's your lumen number? 600. Yeah, that's a far cry. But that's from... That might be voltage dependent. I really don't know. We can always put, maybe sometime put a boost converter in one of these and boost up the voltage. Boost up the maximum voltage to see if it changes anything, but who really knows? So that's kind of lame. Far cry from the superpowers, but maybe in a future live stream we'll put a boost converter in these and see if it changes anything. So, well, we got this out. Let's try my gift from Peter. We'll see what the Olight does. So this one's got several different modes in it. I like to use high and turbo. So here's high. Of course, I got the top open, so that's not going to give accurate readings. Oh, let's see. What did I do with that? Little top. Did I bury it over here? Here it is. Put the cover on it. Of course, this is an angled light, so it probably ain't going to work that well. About 97. Let's put it on turbo. $247 lumens. Because I don't know what it's supposed to be. Maximum output or stuff like that. Of course, it's a little hard for me to test a right angle job like this on this particular measuring tool. But it's a lot brighter than that other lame ass version I got. Even on high. It is brighter. I can make the beam disappear. Gone. That's pretty cool. I use this quite often. It's kind of almost like a go-to. Because it's meant to be a headlamp too. So I got the harness up on the shelf and stuff like that. So nice little live stream here. Next week we're gonna do we're gonna compare them two fans that I was talking about earlier. That DeWalt fan and that Lasco. It's a Cyclone. So 18-inch fan versus 20-inch fan. So 18-inch, homeowner. Everyday fan compared to the 20-inch DeWalt drum fan. And I got a new toy to play around with the testing here, other than the anemometer and stuff like that. But I got another new toy to test out the noise level. So we'll check that out next week. This is a top test. It's a sound level meter. Gives you the equivalent racket in decibels. So we'll see how loud. We'll do some tests on some different things and see how it does on noise levels. Because like I said in the earlier videos, like when you're measuring wind speed, there's no real set distance, and because it's linear. The closer you get to something, the louder or more wind speed you get than when you get further away. Same thing with measuring sound. I mean, the closer you get to something, it changes the sound levels. So there's kind of a set standard for measuring sound. It's usually about 3 feet away from it, but that's kind of like a hit or miss. I mean, if you got something 3 feet directly in front of something like a speaker, yes, 3 feet, line of sight from it, then something that's offside, like either on the left or the right. So it'd be a lot quieter and stuff like that. So that'll be next week's live stream, playing with that. But I got a short little story. So yesterday, and this is a story about there's still good people in the world, even sometimes right next door. The younger generations, some of them still have a little couth, and some of them still have a little ethic in them, depending on how they were raised. So yesterday I had a Amazon box delivered, and of course the Amazon driver can't read, so he dropped the package off at the wrong address, which was next door. And normally, if I can catch it early enough, I'll just go out and just do a little porch pirating and grab the box and call it a day. So I didn't get to it right away. So the neighbor's boyfriend picked up the box, brought it inside. So when I went over on the porch and looked, it was gone. So I knew it was inside. So I did a little test to see how good the neighbors are. So I waited. I didn't knock on the door. I didn't make any attempt to retrieve the package. I said, let's see how good the neighbors are. So I waited it was about 3 hours before the girlfriend finished her little, I don't know, nap or getting ready to go out and stuff like that. So she come over. When she discovered that the box was in the house, luckily she was smart enough to look at the box and realize it was an Amazon order. And she is an Amazon customer, so she doesn't buy as much as I do. So she did look at the box, and she did read the label, and she made no attempt to open the box, but she did read the label, and she did, under a good assumption, she brought the package over to my house. So that just shows you that the younger generation, depending on how they were raised, they do have the ethics, they do have the couth of doing the right thing and delivering the box. So if you don't know there's really no laws and there's really no rules other than depending on the person on if you receive a box that was delivered to your residence and it's not yours, you do not have to give it back at all. There's no laws, there's no rules, there's no regulations saying that if you get somebody else's package, you don't have to give it back or deliver it or anything like that. It's all depending on the individual of whether they're honest and good enough to bring it back. So a good little test from the neighbor, good people, because you never know. I mean, how many of you out there watching the replay, would you, if you got a box and it wasn't addressed to you, would you keep the box? Or would you do the right thing and either A, give it back to the shipper, that brought it, or at least make the attempt on delivering it. I know a lot of people, and it was also mentioned on when I was looking it up from the it's on the Federal Trade Commission on that particular subject. If you get a box, do you give it back? Do you ship it back? Do you deliver it by hand? And and it's kind of that mixed bag, especially in today's day, where you don't know what kind of people are. Some of them are a little wacky, and might go off on you if they find you on their porch or something like that, and you don't know. So that's a lot of people probably wouldn't make the attempt to deliver it. To be like, well, I might get yelled at or called the cops on, thinking I'm a porch pirate or something like that. It's like I'm just delivering your package and stuff like that. So short little story on yes, even in today's world, there still are some good people out there, and they do the right thing. So I'm glad with that the people next door are good and they did the right thing. So my little story, and let's see, this has been going on for a little over an hour now. So that's it for this particular live stream. Of course, next week we'll have another interesting live stream. So with that, we'll see you on the next live stream. So we'll see you all later.